So now let's move to the Christian laws on inheritance. It was quite difficult to get a proper understanding of the Christian law of inheritance with respect to women. Being a Christian myself, I've been of the opinion that, of course, yes, women can actually inherit properties. It's a known norm. But for the purpose of this segment, I did a long, hard research to find these laws in a concise point, and actually stumbled across an article titled Transfer of Property by Inheritance and Bequest in the Biblical Law and Tradition by Richard H. Ayers from the University of Florida. Reading through that article, I was able to get a proper understanding of the Christian law of inheritance and how it applies to women. Now, it will be important for me to state here that under the Christian law of inheritance, we have inheritance by intestate law of succession, we have inheritance by bequest, and we have inheritance through levirate marriage. So I'm going to start this story from the beginning. The law of inheritance actually started with the story of the daughters of Zelophehad. Now, the Israelites just left Egypt. They were just freed from slavery and they were in the wilderness, moving to the promised land. Now, inheritance was divided amongst the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, Zelophehad happened to be from the house of Manasseh, died in the wilderness, and he left no sons behind, but he was survived by 5 daughters. These women walked up to Moses in front of the congregation of Israel, and they asked him some serious questions. They asked that, yes, their father has already died and he left behind no sons. Does that mean that his name will be wiped out from the land of Israel? And they pleaded with Moses to have their father's brothers to give them their father's inheritance. Now Moses prayed to the Lord, and the Lord directed Moses on what he should give these brave women as answers. Now when Moses approached the women, he told them that yes, they were right to request their father's inheritance, and he instructed their father's brothers to give them their father's inheritance so that these ladies can actually carry on their father's name in the land of Israel. So this was where the law of intestate succession actually came about, because after Moses said that, he now instructed further that if a father leaves no son behind, then all the properties goes to his daughter or daughters. Now, if he leaves no daughter behind, then his properties goes to his brothers. If he leaves no brothers behind, then the properties goes to his father's brothers. And if his father doesn't have any brothers, then the properties go to his nearest kinsman. So it's important for you to understand that intestate law of succession means that the deceased did not actually leave a will behind. If my father leaves behind no son, probably leaves behind the daughter of course would remarry, and all the properties would go to the son-in-law, because the Israeli society as at then was patriarchal in nature. That is a male-dominated society. So this brought some questions from the brothers of Zelophehad, because they now went to Moses later and they spoke to him saying that, yes, we've given the daughters of Zelophehad his own share of the inheritance. But what happens when these women finally marry? That means all their own inheritance, mostly like landed property, would move to another tribe of Israel. So that means they, from the house of Manasseh, would actually lose some of their inheritance based on this law of intestate succession. So Moses again prayed to the Lord, and he went back to the people and he told them that yes, you're right with what you've said, and he instructed the daughters of Zelophehad that they can marry anyone they choose, but it must be within their father's tribe, because no inheritance from one tribe of Israel would move to another. So now, having said all this, it's quite interesting to notice that we did not mention the wife of the deceased in any of this, intestate law of succession which I've just analyzed. You might be wondering, so are widows not catered for under the law of inheritance in the Bible? Well, it will come as a surprise to you that widows actually inherited their husband's properties even as at the time of the Old Testament. Take, for example, Naomi and Ruth. Naomi's husband actually had male relatives, but it was evident that she inherited his field. And if we go further, the widows in 2 Kings chapter 4 and chapter 8 actually inherited their deceased husband's properties, even though they had surviving son or son. So the understanding is that the widows, they have a life interest in their husband's estate. So, but when the widow dies, then the properties can now move in the order of intestate succession, as it was set out in Numbers 27. So for some of you that want to read about the law of intestate succession, you might want to go to Numbers chapter 27 and actually do some reading yourself so that you get a proper understanding. So let's move to another type of inheritance which was discussed in the Bible. That was inheritance through levirate marriage. And that occurs when a deceased person leaves no child behind. The brother of the deceased person is obliged to marry his brother's widow in order to continue his brother's name. So what happens is that the firstborn of the levirate marriage actually carries on the name of the deceased brother and inherits his properties. So this was actually done back then in order for there to be a continuance in the name of probably a person in a particular tribe of Israel, and to make sure that inheritance moves from generation to generation. The final one is inheritance by bequest. Bequests could be made to person or persons other than those identified in the intestate law of succession. Transfer of inheritance by bequest is actually given more priority over the law of intestate succession. The donor, or should I say the testator, that's the owner of the property, can actually decide to give out any of his properties to anyone he so chooses, like his widow, his daughters, his sons, even his slaves, and should I say his grandchildren also. He can decide to do that. So basically, in the biblical times, it's not like the testator would actually sit down and write a will like we have nowadays. He orally says that he has given this so person, and most of the time, transfer of inheritance by bequest occurs when the testator believes that he or she is going to die in the nearest future. Now, I would also want you to note that in the Bible, a woman can actually bequeath some of her inheritance to her husband's relative and also to her own relatives. So there's no restriction when it comes to bequest. So what I'm trying to say in essence is this: transfer of inheritance by bequest is actually giving priority over transfer of inheritance by intestate succession, because as far as the person is able to will out or give out his properties while he's alive, then that law supersedes the law of intestate succession. So, having said all this, we can see that in the Bible there's actually provisions for widows to be taken care of in case their husbands die, and it's not like they are left uncatered for or unloved.